Hello, everyone, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
Hey, boy-ish.
All righty, then you already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast so more people can check us out. If you are on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page at X Talking Ish and make sure you click onto the notification bell for our shows in the future.
Ding.
There you go. You go. You slacking there, Ish. You slacking. Wake up. If you are on Twitter, please make sure you follow my Twitter handle at X_Williams AT1 ish. Before we get into our topics for tonight, I want to bring in our very special guest for this evening. If you have tuned into this show before, you have seen this beautiful face in the beautiful cornfields of Iowa, my friend, our brother, KC from Just Another Football Show.
How's it
Yeah.
going, man?
It's going well as always for us over here in the H. Ish.
Yeah, it's going well, man. We're just hanging out, doing our thing, ready for the season to get started.
Yeah, we're in the wasteland right now. We're ready. We need some sports.
Yeah, it's
All
rough.
right, as always, KC, we appreciate you for being on tonight. We're gonna go right into topic number one. Try to figure out who is QB number one for the New Orleans Saints. Mr. Jameis Winston. Last night with his performance for the New Orleans Saints, did he lock up the QB1 spot for the New Orleans Saints? KC Ish, who wants to go ahead and start off with that?
Yeah, no, he's been number one for me on the depth chart since Drew Brees announced retirement. I don't understand the Taysom Hill love. I know I had you guys feeling a certain kind of way when I said that he could have led the Buccaneers with the improvements that they made to that team to a Super Bowl. And I still believe that. I think if with the line, the change in the offensive play calling, they're not forcing him to throw the ball down the field. They're letting him do his work. He's gonna be just fine this year.
Um, I agree that he is QB1. I don't agree with the fact that as soon as Drew Brees announced his retirement that he was QB1, and I don't agree that he would have led the Bucks to the Super Bowl. But we can agree to disagree on that one. This performance did seal his starting job, though, at least for week one and maybe the first couple of weeks of the season. He did perform very well. Marquez Callaway, I mean, wow. There's been a lot of noise about him coming out of camp, and he proved it. They've got a connection going on, and they're going to need that connection to keep going early in the season without Michael Thomas and Tre'Con Smith hurt. They're going to need those two to definitely continue connecting. I think that really he won it with his performance, and then Taysom Hill just kind of solidified it with his performance because it was suspect to me. Taysom didn't step up to the plate after Jameis had such a huge opening quarter. You would expect Taysom Hill, somebody who's been talked about as being part of this battle and possibly the guy that Sean Payton had a little bit more faith in. For him to go out and do what he did after Jameis had that big quarter, I think it solidified it for me. There's no question. I'd rather have Jameis out there potentially throwing picks than to have Taysom kind of second guessing himself.
One thing I will say about Jameis and about this whole situation that we are in right now with Jameis trying to solidify QB1 in New Orleans. Can we put a little bit of respect on Jameis Winston's name and what he has done in the past? I mean, again, I
No,
know it's easy to throw shots at him or throw crab legs or throw a W, whatever you want to throw at Jameis. I know it's easy to do it because it seems like he has been a punching bag of jokes for the last couple of years in the NFL. But what Jameis was able to do this past season that a lot of quarterbacks are not able to do is sit behind a Hall of Fame quarterback and learn from him. And sitting behind Drew Brees last season might have been able to save Jameis's career on this next back half because he doesn't look like Cam, right? He doesn't look like Kirk Cousins in Minnesota when it comes to, I don't know. I mean, We still don't know yet. Jameis looks like he's ready to attack this season. And if he's able to, I'm not talking about putting up 90% completion rating. I'm not talking about throwing 8 touchdowns in a game. That's not going to happen. But seriously, if he's able to play within the Sean Payton system and throw for 68 completion percentage, throw for 4,500 yards, throw for 38 touchdowns, because he threw for 30 touchdowns in Tampa Bay with their system.
And
Why
30
can he not?
interceptions.
I understand that, and you're correct. But again, like I said, when you learn from Drew Brees and Sean Payton when it comes to cutting out those mistakes and not forcing things, you're easily going to go from 30 to hopefully 15. And if anything, you might go from 15 to maybe less than 10. We have to wait and see. But one thing I did like watching from Jameis last night is ball placement, being able to move the chains, not forcing, and being able to take what the defense gave him. Yes, we know it's the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, and they probably won't be in the playoffs moving forward. We understand that. But I like what the Saints are doing right now. I really do. And we'll wrap it up with this. If you're a Saints fan, this is the best scenario that could have happened for you if you are a Saints fan. Jameis Winston is playing very well, and Taysom Hill is playing like we expected Taysom Hill to play. So Jameis, go out and go start and be the guy, and Taysom we will put you in when time is necessary. So just like they talked about this morning with Marcellus Wiley, I'm sorry, not Marcellus, with Marcus Spears, he said instead of Jameis or Taysom, Jameis and Taysom will help the Saints offense moving forward. And I think that will be a surprise team in the NFC this upcoming season.
So real quick, just to respond to what you said about people putting respect on Jameis' name, it's hard to put respect on Jameis' name when, number one, last season, yeah, he got to sit behind Drew Brees, but when Drew Brees got hurt, the coaching staff didn't feel confident enough to let Jameis start. Now, whether or not that was because they were trying to hide the fact that they thought Jameis Winston was going to be their starter this year, or if it was because they had lacked the confidence in Jameis Winston and actually felt more confident with Taysom Hill. The fact is that Jameis did not start when Drew Brees got hurt. That's number one. Number two, you also have to take into account that Jameis Winston, this is not new, right? So like, we're acting as if we didn't already know that Jameis possessed this kind of talent when everybody already knew he possessed this kind of talent. The problem with Jameis Winston has been he is not consistent. So while we're getting really excited about this performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, which that team is a whole, it is a whole mess in and of itself. You kind of gotta be a little bit cautious here. Like, yeah, I'm excited about what I saw. I'm excited about the ball placement. I'm excited about the timing. I'm excited about him moving the chains. It looked like he was making better decisions. It looks like the eye surgery that he got actually is working for him. However, I'm kind of still like, I don't know, because he had these kind of games in Tampa Bay, and then he was still going out, a week or two later and throwing 3, 4, 5 picks in a game. So no one's going to put respect on Jameis's name until he gets in the regular season, when the games count, and against better competition, which he's going to have good competition in the NFC South. And he does it week in and week out. We need to see it from him. No one here, I don't think anyone out there is saying that Jameis is not capable of leading this team to, a playoff pick, right? However, the problem with Jameis, again, I will say it, is that consistency. Is he going to do it? When the pressure's on, is he going to do it? When they're behind and they need him to make a play, is he going to do it, or is he going to throw a pick? That's what we want to see.
My thing when it comes to respect on Jameis's name is when you have a guy like Carson Wentz, and everybody keep on bringing up his 2017 season and wanting to see Carson Wentz become somebody who he might not be. And you have guys like maybe a Kirk Cousins or certain quarterbacks that they're hanging on to that one glory year that they had in the league and feel like that they can duplicate it or replicate it, I should say. But with Jameis, again, I understand he's probably had some up and down years in the league, but also he's a quarterback that led his team in college to a national championship. So I'm not saying that he's somebody that should have the Tom Brady respect to his name, but we have to look at him like, okay, remember he was the number one pick in the draft. Okay, he's somebody that has thrown for thousands of yards on a okay system with a number one wide receiver, Mike Evans. Now let's see what he can do now with some balanced weapons, decent running attack, and an offense coordinator. I'm sorry, a head coach that believes in you because of the offense that he's going to put in for you. And then once you get your number one receiver back as well, hopefully midway in the season, we can see that back half of the season what happens for y'all moving forward. Because I don't know if y'all heard in the game last night in New Orleans, they finally have some fans back there, and the Superdome's going to be rocking again, and they're going to be able to have that home field advantage that which they have not had in the past couple of seasons. So I'm just saying, I like what I see in New Orleans. I'm not saying that Jameis is going to be the MVP next year. Maybe that's something that KC will say, but I will say he's making an early run for comeback player of the year already.
That's a tough boat. That's a tough boat to find yourself in. There's a lot of really good names in that bucket.
You ain't lying.
I don't know. The Taysom Hill thing gets me. I mean, he beat Atlanta twice, Denver, and Philadelphia last year. Like, and when Denver was with the kid off the streets playing quarterback, like, they should have been able to put one of us in and won those games. So I think they were just sort of sitting on him. There's a reason that Jameis came back and decided he was going to play for this team. He was probably told, it's your job, man. They reworked the contract for Taysom in the offseason, cut away all of his guaranteed money, and he took it. All these have been signs that Jameis has been the guy all along, but we'll see week one, I guess.
Yes, sir. Justin says, I don't understand why it's even a discussion. Hill's a Swiss Army knife, not a legit NFL quarterback. Thank you for that, Bama. Thank you for that. I mean, again, for the people that actually watch football or have played it, I mean, you pretty much see what you see. Now, I will say this, though. There is somebody out there. I'm not going to throw his name out there. I'll just say that he plays in a very high level of football. And he said that Taysom Hill would be the starting quarterback. This was about a month ago. He said Taysom Hill would be the starting quarterback due to the RPO type of quarterback that he is and what Sean Payton likes to run. I understand that, but that's cute for high school and college football. I don't think it. I think RPO, of course, works for guys like a Lamar Jackson and maybe a Trey Lance and also Justin Fields when they get their time. But Taysom Hill is just not to me, from what I've seen, a consistent passer enough, especially on the run, to where I trust him enough to run RPO type of offense.
Yeah, they got to keep that offense happy too. I mean, go back and look at Alvin Kamara's numbers when Taysom Hill's playing; they're not great. So. We can have the Michael Thomas conversation another time, whether or not they're going to try to get him to come back and stick around or whatever. But if Taysom Hill's your quarterback, that's not happening. All these wide receivers are going to walk because he's not pushing the ball down the field.
I think
the reason that they couldn't sign any free agents in Baltimore.
Well, I think we saw that last night, right? Like, we saw how he responded. The only receiver that he hit for a majority of the time he was in was Lil Jordan Humphrey. So, and most of those were shorter passes, a little bit intermediate, but it's not really like he's pushing the ball down the field. So I think Jameis is the guy. It's been Jameis's job, but is he going to hold on to that job is what we're going to have to wait and see, because Jameis tends to defeat Jameis.
I'll also say that Taysom's going to steal some numbers from him, so he's not an MVP candidate. He's still going to take some goal line snaps and things like that. He's going to steal some touchdowns. I think that's a problem for an MVP bid. I mean, if they win a division or win a bunch of games, I don't think anyone really cares. But to answer that question, I'm going with no.
I can definitely see that. I definitely understand that, and of course, we'll keep in touch with Jameis when it comes to seeing how he performs throughout the season. It'll be very interesting, and hopefully we'll see a bounce back season from Jameis, because one thing about America, everybody in America loves a comeback story. So we'll see what happens with Jameis. Justin says, when you are a jack of all trades means you're a master of none. Hill hasn't put in enough hours to be considered a QB in any type of way. I definitely agree on that. You know, as a quarterback, you got to put in those reps to make sure you have that muscle memory as a quarterback. When you are a do-it-all type of player, you know, you don't really get an opportunity to craft that one position. All right, let's go ahead and move forward and go ahead and talk about the quarterback on the other side of the ball when it comes to these 2021 rookie first-round quarterbacks. We'll start off with Mr. Trevor Lawrence. I don't know about you guys, but it definitely seemed like a regular season game for him, the way his pressure was right up in his face, and that Saints defensive line welcoming Trevor Lawrence to the NFL. We'll talk, of course, about Trevor Lawrence, but I also want to talk about the Jags organization and what Urban Meyer has done and not done so far in his tenure as the Jags head coach. Also, a little bit about Travis Etienne. So, Casey, I'll go ahead and throw this to you, and I'll go ahead and have you start this one off.
I don't know. I think that this organization is trending in the right way, and it sounds like you're going to disagree with that. It's baby steps. I'm one of the few that does like the Urban Meyer hire. I think that he'll figure it out. He's done a lot of dumb stuff. That's true. Like some of the hires that he had to back out on. That's a whole mess. But I think that they've got a good core of receivers there. Keeping Lawrence upright will be the problem. But I think that they're doing the right thing in the other positions. You're going to see, you know, some of these receivers jump out. Yeah, the ETN injury really sucks, but it was kind of a head scratcher when it happened. We kind of thought that Robinson had the job and he was going to be great and it was fine. And all of a sudden they're drafting a running back and everyone that's got him in fantasy is like, oh, wait, what? Why are we doing this? So I think they'll be okay at the running back position. It sucks for the kid, obviously, and he'll be back next season. And we'll see how the running game works out this year. But I think that they're trending in the right direction. It's going to be a tough season. But if Lawrence can move around and hit those young receivers, I think he's going to be okay.
All right, Ish.
Just speaking on the organization, I agree with Casey. I think that they are trending in the right direction. I don't know if I quite agree that Urban Meyer is
That's fine. I'm in the minority on
that. That he's a good hire or the right man for the job. I'm still kind of iffy on that. But I do agree that the organization themselves, just kind of what they've done on the roster so far, the building blocks that they have in place, they are doing something to try to get to a competitive level. It helps that they're in the AFC South because, you got Tennessee, you got Indianapolis, and you got Houston. Now, Indy's transitioning to Sam Bradford 2.0 behind center, so we'll wait and see how that goes, if he's available or not. It's really Tennessee's race and then everybody else. But I will say one thing about Trevor Lawrence. He is consistent. He is consistent at being the worst of the 5 quarterbacks picked in the first round because he's just all over the place. And this is like my observations, ignoring the fact that I understand the line's not very good. I understand that he's going to face a lot of pressure all year long. But even when he has time, he has been so up and down and all around with his throws. Just the timing, the placement, it has been so inconsistent from that standpoint that I have kind of been shocked that this is the guy that, we expected, a Hall of Fame type guy, highest rated coming out of high school, highest rated coming into the draft. And it just hasn't looked like it. Even when he has the time is the concern, right? So I don't know if it's he's getting gun shy because that line is horrible and he is seeing a lot of pressure, or if the pressure is just getting to him as far as being the number 1 pick and being the savior of this franchise. Maybe that's what it is. Hopefully, these games don't count. He's using them right now to just get snaps, get reps. And hopefully when the regular season starts, especially opening up against the organization in Houston, hopefully they turn that around. He gets a little bit more comfortable and we start to see a little bit more from him as far as being the kind of guy that we thought he was going to be when he got drafted. But so far, he, by far to me, head and shoulders, is the worst of the 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round.
Very bold words right there, Ish. Because like you said, since high school with another quarterback we're going to be speaking about with this rookie field, of course, Justin Fields, been ranked, a generational type of quarterback, the next Peyton Manning, pretty much, the next Sunshine, or whatever you want to label him. He was all of that since high school, and of course in Clemson, to where it didn't matter if he got into a bad team. He was going to make it better instantaneously. That's the hype people were building around Trevor Lawrence. And right now, of course, mainly due to a bad offensive line, it doesn't look like that at the moment. But in due time, let's hope that he's able to get a decent line in front of him to where he can have some decent footing in front of him. Because I agree with what all y'all are saying. He's double clutching. He's not comfortable in the pocket. Even when he rolls out, it doesn't seem like he's comfortable. And I think that's going to the personnel when it comes to coaching staff. That's something that they're going to have to figure out. Urban Meyer is, do I put my rookie quarterback out there to get beat up and maybe cost an injury early in the season? And then, we have a veteran. We can put in Gardner Minshew to help move things forward in the season until Trevor Lawrence gets back. Or do we put in the veteran to let him take the hits, and then whenever the rookie is able to come in, we slide him in there? I think that's something that's not being talked about as much in Jacksonville that does need to be talked about, because they've had all this cap space for this upcoming season, and they didn't use any of it on the offensive line. So that's something that I worry about as well. Is the Jaguars as an organization, you bring in Urban Meyer from retirement. You got the number one draft pick. You bring in this generational guy, and you're not doing enough to me to maintain it. It's like going out and go buy a Benz, and we're putting regular fuel in there. We're not getting his oil change at the right time. We're wasting this luxury vehicle. All right. So,
well, you could argue the same thing for Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, right? Like the question was going into the draft. The question going into the draft was, do they take a tackle or do they take his buddies from LSU?
Yes.
And they went ahead and they took Jamar Chase, who has been dropping balls left and right over there. And people are saying, hey, we got a guy that injured his knee last year, is just coming back, and we didn't even do anything to protect him, right? So it seems to be the trend right now that, teams are going to gather weapons as opposed to, going out and making these big signings on the line. Now, I would argue that outside of the Kansas City Chiefs and maybe one or two teams, I don't think that there were very many plays for offensive line. And I don't think that there were very many people out there on the market once, some of these guys got picked up by these other teams that needed linemen. I don't think that there were very many options out there to really strengthen your line beyond what you had. So I don't hold it against Jacksonville that they didn't make any splashy line signings. I think that they knew what they were going into. They know this is a building process, and they're kind of hoping to go out there. Trevor's going to play. They're going to try to protect him as much as they can. A lot of the play calling that you've seen from Urban Meyer so far kind of leans towards that, as far as like the quick throws out to Laviska Shenault in the flats, a lot of screens. They're trying to get the ball out of his hands as quick as possible because they know the line is bad. So, we just have to wait and see, how do they fit the scheme this year? And then what do they do moving forward? Now, if they go into next draft and they don't better themselves on the line, if they don't get any free agents, then I agree with you. Yeah, they're not doing anything to save him.
Lee says Bengals added 2 starting offensive linemen in the offseason, though. That's a lot different than Jacksonville. Also, Jacksonville has 3 starting offensive linemen that didn't play. The broadcaster said they'll be back week 1, so I guess we will see. Yes, I do remember them saying that they do have a couple of linemen that were out for this game, and I definitely understand that, and I agree with you, Lee. We have to wait and see how the line looks when those guys get back and see, hopefully, that they won't have Cam Jordan in Trevor Lawrence face all game. It's interesting because the next quarterback that I want to get to, that's to me, I feel like the bigger question is what's going on in Chicago, because before we get into Justin Fields, Do anybody know who Chicago plays week 1 in the NFL season?
No, I don't remember.
The LA Rams. Do you want to put Justin Fields out there with Aaron Donald and
He's
Jalen
not
Ramsey?
playing week 1. They're playing Andy Dalton. They've already said that.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just putting this out here for all the Chicago fans that want Justin Fields to start week 1. Let Andy Dalton take care of the reins at the moment. And whatever happens, you go 0-2 or 0-3 or whatever it is, you can slide Justin Fields in. You can enjoy your 8-9 season moving forward. Right? I mean, that is the best case scenario in Chicago.
This team has higher aspirations than that, though.
You're correct. No, you're correct.
And
I agree
if you
with
look at Andy Dalton's numbers from last year, he was a trash can. Like I get, don't throw him out there and let Aaron Donald murder him. That's what's going to happen.
I actually disagree with that.
I mean, maybe he's going to be more mobile and might be able to get away. We have seen him struggle a little bit with some mobile guys. But I mean, Dalton was so bad last year with possibly the best core of receivers in the NFL. Why is he? No, he should not be doing this. I don't get it.
Red Rocket said this is his
time. I don't understand it.
So that's where I disagree with X. I disagree with X from the standpoint of I honestly don't care who they're playing week 1. I don't care that they're playing Aaron Donald week 1 because from what I've seen so far from Justin Fields, he's so calm, he's so poised in the pocket, sometimes to his own detriment, where we saw he almost got his head taken off. But he is so calm, and even when he leaves the pocket, it's not like he leaves the pocket. There are some quarterbacks that when they leave the pocket, they look in a panic, right? They're panicking. They're trying to get out of there. They're trying to get the ball out of their hands. He's so calm with the ball. He's not panic or rushing to make a throw or rushing to get down the field. Like, he's looking at the right thing. I'm seeing all the right things from him right now. There's still things he needs to work on, yes. But so far, what I've seen from him is way better than what you can expect from Andy Dalton. And like Casey said, this team has high aspirations. That defense is a possibly Super Bowl contending defense.
And they ain't going to be around forever.
And they will not be around forever. So for you to sit here and waste a player's window of opportunity, a player's playing career, to for what with Andy Dalton? For what? Because you told him he was going to be the starting quarterback, so you don't want to go back on that? I just don't see it. If you continue to see what you see from Justin Fields, I would say right now in the first 2 preseason games, we have seen enough that I don't think Andy Dalton should start, period. Like, I've at the beginning of the season, the preseason was thinking, all right, give Andy Dalton some time, let Justin Fields kind of chill out. But after seeing him play those first 2 preseason games, I agree 100%, Casey. Like, Andy Dalton was so bad last year. Why do we even want to give him an opportunity with a worse group of weapons than what you had in Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, he averaged like bottom quarter of the league in most statistics. It's mind-blowing to me. He's not good.
He's going to start, though.
I got Red Rocket QB1.
I would agree with that.
I got Red Rocket QB1 because Matt Nagy said so. And where did Matt Nagy come from? My Kansas City fellows. You want to help me out on that one?
I mean, Peterson got lucky and won the Super Bowl, but outside of that, all the offensive coordinators that come out from under Reed are bad. It's just where it is. And look at Peterson. Like, he got lucky and won that one Super Bowl, right?
He did.
But Nagy's not been good. He got carried by a defense. He wasn't good last year until he gave up the play.
He was not good last year.
Play calling.
Well, maybe Andy Reid's assistance is the same way with Andy Reid when it comes to you gotta give Andy assistance about 20 years to finally do something. I mean, it took Andy a couple years to finally win him his first Super Bowl, so it takes a little bit. Lee says, does the crowd booing Dalton so often and chanting for Fields make any difference within the organization? They want ticket sales, and that's got to play some type of role in that decision, right? You want to answer that one, Casey?
I think ultimately, they're going to get it. Is that first game at home or on the road? I assume it's on the road. It's got to be in LA. That sounds like a great setup to get all in. Well, one of the 2 LA teams will be at home week 1, I guess. But if that game is at home in front of Bears fans and all of a sudden they find themselves down 20 points, which I could see happening very quickly. Yeah, it's going to be a problem, and the team's going to have to reevaluate very quickly.
I mean, I think he's going to end up starting or playing very early, and that game is on the road. So, I think that he's going to end up playing at some point, and it's Sunday night. It's a Sunday night game, so
could we see a Flacco with the Ravens type of situation where, you know, you're just not getting it done, and we just go ahead and put Lamar Jackson aka Justin Fields in, and you know.
I actually think depending on how they play and how he plays week 1, I think that week 2 you can see Justin Fields starting. If he goes out there and the defense plays well, and Andy Dalton and the offense are kind of slow, they're stalled out, they're not doing much, even with Aaron Donald on the other side, I think that you can see Justin Fields starting week 2. It just depends on how they play.
I can see him finding his way in, just like the Baker Mayfield got in. QB1 went to the red tent or in the blue tent, got his helmet taken away. I don't think there was a real injury there, but it was time to put the kid in. So I can see that being a thing.
Cody Chapman says you've got to let Dalton lose the job. Obviously, you drafted Fields for a reason. They will sell jerseys. The chance will be there. Look at what happened in Kansas City with Mahomes. Eventually gave him the reins, and it was over. I mean, I agree. And speaking of Mahomes, that's something that they've brought up time and time again. The 3 best quarterbacks at this moment.
It's funny because this is the thing I always argue on my show.
Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers all at one point in time sat behind a quarterback, and then once they came in, the rest was history. So
you can't compare Alex Smith to Andy Dalton.
But look, you can't compare. I mean, you can't compare what Peyton Manning was able to do, or Cam Newton, or Jameis, or everybody's situation is different because of whatever scenario that team is in at that moment. So we have to wait and see what Chicago Bears are going to do, what's best for the Chicago Bears. Lee says nothing like the Mahomes situation. You can't compare Dalton to Alex Smith.
Yeah,
I understand that.
That's the part for me that I can't get past.
I got that.
You can't compare Andy Dalton. Also, the situation with the Chiefs that everybody kind of seems to forget is that was a playoff team, and Alex Smith was playing really well. And it wasn't like Alex Smith was like Andy Dalton bad. He was a good starting quarterback in the league.
Quarterback that just couldn't get it over the hump.
He just couldn't get over the hump. And that's why they could ride Alex Smith for a year and then tell him, you know, next year Patrick has the job, right? If the Bears had a quarterback that was solid enough that you could say, hey, this guy has been good, let's ride with him, and then Justin, you'll start next year, that would work. Same in Jacksonville. If Gardner was a little bit better, and Gardner hasn't been bad, I don't know why, you know, people act as if Gardner was bad. I know Gardner Minshew was not really good week 1. He's not your Super Bowl champion quarterback, but to me, I just think like none of these guys are fortunate enough to be in a situation other than, we'll get to him later, Mr. Lance, are in a situation where they can sit behind somebody and just kind of ride it out.
Cody says, plays into my point, my man. As of now, there's no reason you can't ride Dalton, but after week 1, 2, or 3, it could be different. I mean, that's just it's the waiting game for this team. We have to just wait and see what happens.
I think you could see just Sunday night bloodbath, and then he's done week 2. When the kid goes in. That's probably more likely the situation.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about a quarterback that most likely is going to be QB1 when the season starts. That has no quarterback competition at all on his team. That's Mr. Zach Wilson. He went 9 for 11, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 154.7 passer rating. I don't know about you guys, but that's some pretty decent numbers. And last week on X Talking Ish, I did say be on the lookout for Zach Wilson. That boy can sling that thing, and if you stay around towards the end of the show, we have a very special gift for you guys here. So make sure you stay tuned to X Talking Ish. But anyways, Zach Wilson was out here slinging that thing. He definitely caught the attention from the NFL MVP of last season, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, and he said himself that Zach Wilson will be somebody to be on the lookout for. So, Ish, I'll start off with you. How you feel about Zach Wilson and his performance that he had in week 2?
Just like Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson is very consistent. He is consistently the best of the 5 quarterbacks that were drafted in the first round. I mean, Zach Wilson has done everything that you were expecting from any of the first round quarterbacks. Like, he has come out, he has placed the ball well, he has been poised in the pocket. He is, I mean, he's showing a lot of wisdom beyond his years. He's doing things that I didn't expect him to do, to be honest, not off the bat, not with the Jets offense. But he has been making plays, and he has been everything that they said he was when they came out and everybody was saying they were high on Zach Wilson. I think a lot of people were kind of confused. They were like, "Oh, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, those guys are, why not them?" And some people in that organization were sold on Zach Wilson. Well, I can say after these first 2 games, I'm sorry that I questioned you, because Zach Wilson has been the best of the group, and he continues to get better every time he steps on the field. You just see it, man. He feels more comfortable, and he buys into the system and does what they ask him to do. I have just been shocked at just how well he has. I mean, the timing with receivers is really what, to me, is what like jumped out to me. The timing with his receivers has been awesome. So I look forward to seeing him in the regular season. I look forward to seeing what they do in the AFC East. You got Miami, who just missed the playoffs last year, and they got Tua, who's going to be starting the whole year, and then you got Allen and the Bills, who are going to be obviously the favorites, not to mention another rookie quarterback in that division. So I don't know, man. I love this guy so far, and I'm looking forward to watching him play. I never thought that I would say I would look forward to the Jets playing, but
you ain't lying on that one. Yeah, you ain't lying on that one. KC, what you got for us?
Still ain't looking forward to the Jets playing. Let's calm down. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. No, I mean, he's probably got, I don't want to say like the longest leash, because there's no one behind him making that job, but he's probably got like the lowest expectations. We talk about the rookie quarterbacks from this class, and we talk about all the big sexy names. Zach Wilson gets left behind when we're talking about it, because it's the Jets, and no one cares about the Jets. They're a bad team. They're over under 6 wins. We don't expect them to win a lot of games. So he just sort of gets left by the wayside, and that's just going to give him the ability to go out there and grow and get better, and the team's going to get better. This is another team. The trajectory is on its way up. We'll see what the other teams in that division are doing. I still believe that Miami can be okay. The Patriots are a wild card, in my opinion, in that division this year. We'll see. Depends on what they do with their quarterback situation. But he's got the lowest expectations, but could still somehow find himself on the ceiling, which is the best case scenario for the Jets.
I mean, I definitely have to agree with you on that one, KC, and also just want to throw in as well, this is a whole new Jets team moving forward. New head coach, new Zach Wilson, and this offense and defense as well. So
say it out loud.
That's the main thing.
Finally.
So here's the best thing for not just Zach Wilson, but also Sam Darnold. Because we can't say, oh well, if Zach Wilson succeeds, it shows that that Darnold is trash. No, that's not necessarily the case. I just think that Sam Darnold got put in a really bad situation that he just had to survive. Luckily enough, he was able to survive. He's in Carolina. We will have to wait and see what happens over there. But with Zach Wilson, and I think with also Robert Slay, I want to make sure I said that correctly, right? Robert Slay, right? Okay. I think he's somebody that's going to be a candidate for NFL Coach of the Year this upcoming season. I think with the way that he motivates his players, we saw that in San Francisco, and the way he's able to do what he's able to do on that defensive side of the ball. Maybe he's doing the same thing with the whole team, galvanizing them to play really well. Because like you said, KC, the Jets have we don't expect anything from the Jets except for 5 or 6 wins. But if they win 7, they win 8, that's a good year for the Jets because
Absolutely.
it's something for them to build on next year and the year after. Because surprisingly, the Jets can actually bring in some free agents because they're in New York. They haven't won anything, so yeah, the expectations should be low. But unfortunately, the media is going to make it seem like, oh, the Jets need to win now. No, the Jets haven't won since Joe Namath. So there's no hype about winning a Super Bowl, but there should be hype about maybe getting some pieces in there to help with Zach Wilson. The Jets over the last 10, 15 years have been able to have names there. They just can't bring it all together for some reason to make a run at it. Yes, they went to 2 AFC championships with Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez. And if they're able to do that with those two guys, more so Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan, then why not Zach Wilson, right? Why not Robert Slay? Why not a new Robert Slay and also Fireman Ed could be best buddies over the next 5 years because they kind of look like brothers. I'm just saying, like, this could be a new look for this New York Jets moving forward, and I'm all for it.
I'm gonna jump right past that. Yeah, just got the fourth highest salary cap or most salary cap remaining right now. Yeah, they can bring in pieces, and that salary cap's going to do nothing but go up once we have full stadiums this year.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully
yes,
it stays that way. So, they could go on a spending spree, bring him in some more pieces, beef up that line, do whatever they need to do to make him look good. Just let him go through his growing pains and keep him healthy and keep him as upright as you can this year.
I definitely agree. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a quarterback that, like Ish said, is consistent. And with Mac Jones, he threw 13 for 19, not just this week, but also the last week before. This week, he threw for 146 yards and 91.1 QB rating as well. Nothing sexy, nothing spectacular from Mac Jones when it comes to the stat line. But what it looks like to me for Mac Jones playing in the Patriot system, he really just reminds me of Tom Brady behind Drew Bledsoe. Like, I know
Careful.
I know exactly.
Careful.
I said the scary word. I know, my bad. I apologize. I'm not comparing. I'm
That's
just
a scary
saying.
man's name.
I'm just saying Mac Jones being able to be the guy to not mess it up on the offensive side of the ball and just get your weapons the ball. He's able to do that. He's not trying to go out there and be the guy. And that's what Tom Brady was when he first was with the Patriots. He just he was able to take what the defense gave him. So with that being said, if Mac Jones ever had to replace Cam Newton, because I feel like Cam Newton is QB1 for the Patriots in week 1, I think Mac Jones will be able to help the offense, but I don't think he will come in and just run it up spectacularly like maybe a Justin Fields or even a Zach Wilson with the Jets. Ish?
So I actually think this week was a really bad week for the Patriots. I say that because now you actually have what would be considered a quarterback battle on your hands. I think that we've been saying things like there's a quarterback battle. That's not a quarterback battle. Andy Dalton is the guy until he loses it, unfortunately. In San Francisco, we've been saying there's a quarterback battle. I don't think that's a quarterback battle. I think they ride with Jimmy G until Jimmy G loses that job. But in New England, I think that this actually has become a quarterback battle, and I think it's the worst thing that could happen for the Patriots. I think that the Patriots should have had, and I think a lot of Patriots fans were wanting Cam to continue being terrible Cam so that Mac Jones could just get the start at the beginning of the year, because you're kind of getting some consistency with Mac Jones. You made the comparison that I've been hearing from a number of people that I'm kind of like, yo, pump the brakes a little bit. I know you really want Tom Brady 2.0 in New England. You're hoping that somebody comes into that system and is able to recreate what Brady did. But, like, let's hold on. I know Mac Jones seems like he's been consistent. He might be that guy. He's showing some great signs, but he's not Tom Brady. Like, let's wait a little bit before we start calling him, Tom Brady, or comparing him to Tom Brady or anything like that. But he has been consistent. He's shown a lot of good things. He is constantly making plays with the second team offense. However, Cam Newton played really well, and I think Cam solidified starting early in the season. I think Cam is going to be there. He's going to start for maybe a couple weeks. But Mac is riding behind him, and as soon as Cam throws 1 or 2 interceptions, I can hear the boos and I can hear the chants coming. And Mac Jones, I don't think it'll be long before he's in there if Cam doesn't continue his play. So we'll have to wait and see how Cam does. I kind of think, to me, it's the same thing as Jameis in New Orleans, as far as like Cam is a really good player, but Cam gets in his own way a lot of times. And if he does that, unfortunately for him, Mac Jones has proven enough that he'll probably will start at some point this season.
I just have to disagree with you on the part of it being
of him looking good
competition. Well, the quarterback competition, I'll say, is ramped up now due to, unfortunately, Cam Newton being out for a couple of days just due to this misunderstanding. I really don't know what's going on with the COVID thing, with the quote unquote misunderstanding why Cam Newton's going to be out for 5 days. I don't know what's going on. They haven't really elaborated on what's going on with that. Some people feel like maybe Mac Jones will be able to get more opportunities now that Cam's gone and maybe could slip into that number 1 role. But I just don't see it at this moment. I just feel like Cam has done enough so far. I don't think he needed the preseason, the third preseason game to show that he's QB1. I see you making faces over there, Ish, but that's just me. I feel like Cam has done enough, not just this season, but also last season. Yeah, I said what I said.
He did enough last season.
What I'm saying is, I understand. We saw what that Patriots team was last season. It wasn't that good. And Cam wasn't going to come in and just take this Patriots team to the playoffs, okay?
This is the one spot that Cam Newton has a great argument, is he has a slew of excuses from last season. He joined this team late. He didn't get a full camp. No one got a full camp, but he didn't get one. He had COVID last year, missed some time there. We don't know if that was an effect. We saw Zeke look like garbage last year, too, after he had it. So maybe that's a thing. We don't know. But this guy looked like he quit on his team at a certain point. There were plays he didn't want to make, and that's not a surprise for Cam Newton, man. Like, we all saw him not dive on that ball. So let's calm down with that, I guess. But he couldn't throw a deep ball to save his life last year. Like, he was trash.
Please. He was
bad.
Horrible throwing the ball last year.
Start the kid. Like, I don't want nothing to do with
So
Cam
y'all
Newton.
hold on. Y'all really think Cam can't throw the deep ball this season?
Yes. Well,
okay.
We'll see, but he couldn't last year. I don't know if there's any reason I would think he could this year.
That's why I said this week was a bad week for the Patriots, because he actually showed that he could still kind of throw the ball somewhat.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Y'all really disrespectful, making it seem like he just dinking and dunking out here.
He was bad last year. He was horrible. He didn't show anything as a passer.
I thought Patriots as a team was really bad.
Me think that but let me ask you this question, X. Since you're talking about all these weapons and yada yada and so on and so forth. Who did they bring in at wide receiver that made you feel like they upgraded their weapons?
That's not the point. The point is as an offensive core,
upgraded the weapons for him, right? They upgraded the weapons for him.
As an offensive core, and they need to go ahead and trade N'Keal Harry.
Who is their
number one receiver? They need to go ahead and trade N'Keal Harry because he hasn't done anything for them as well.
Who's their number one receiver, sir?
Pick's gonna help him out.
It doesn't matter who the number one receiver is.
That's all they're getting for him.
Oh, it doesn't matter who their number one receiver is. But Cam Newton, the guy who was atrocious last year at throwing the ball, and he's throwing to the same guys that he had last year.
Julian Edelman's
he's going to somehow magically
Julian Edelman's coming back, okay? Mark my words.
He's coming back to save the day. He's going to play in Tampa Bay.
He's going to play. Julian's going to play in the playoffs when New England makes it to the playoffs and do his superhero things. But anyway, Cody says, I think the key thing for me, why I can't buy into Mac, is the track record of Bama's quarterbacks in the NFL. I still think Cam is probably better short-term option right now. I definitely agree with you on that one, Cody, when it comes to
Cody, man.
Same way with Ohio State quarterbacks, but
there it is.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe
his wife's a Bears fan, and he's all over Justin Fields. Let's talk about the track record.
Maybe Justin Fields and Mac Jones can change that narrative for both both of those colleges moving forward.
I think that they might be able to make some headway in that.
All right, let's go ahead and talk quickly about Trey Lance before we get into that. Let's read what Lee had to say. He said, They added 2 good tight ends and 2 better wide receivers than that they had last year. You mean Juju and Hunter Henry is a great addition to any QB. Yes, see, they have
Yeah,
Geno Smith,
so
which
the
will
tight
most
ends,
likely
I
be
agree with you, Lee.
their
I
number one
agree.
wide receiver.
I forgot Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith came in. So yeah, I agree there. The problem is you still got Cam Newton, who wasn't throwing nothing. He wasn't throwing to anybody last year. He wasn't throwing to
Before we get to Trey Lance, week 4 will determine everything for the Patriots. When Tom Brady comes into Foxborough, we are going to wait and see what happens with everything. Yeah, I'm serious. That's gonna be a pride game right there for Belichick.
Why is that going to determine anything?
Because we're gonna see what the Patriots look like coming into week 4. If they're gonna be 1-2, 2-1, 3-0, 0-3, and then we're gonna see if Tom Brady comes in there and puts on a performance, and Belichick, you know what? I'm done with this, Cam. We're 0-4. Time to put Mac in. We're gonna move on like that. Or if Cam Newton rises to the occasion and show everybody, hey, I'm still here. I'm still that guy. We have to wait and see. That's the beauty about this beautiful game, right? All right, let's go ahead and move on to, we talked about a little bit of quarterback battle going on in San Francisco. Trey Lance with his 8 for 14 performance, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 89.9 passer rating on that one. AC, I'll start with you. How do you feel about Trey Lance and his performance in San Francisco?
You know, I said what I said about Zach Wilson, but maybe, just maybe, Trey Lance actually has the most time to be ready. We were told up and down when he was drafted, this is a project quarterback. He's not probably starting this year. He's gonna learn. This will be his team next year. And then he comes out in preseason and looks okay. Nobody likes Jimmy G. We assume Jimmy G is going to get hurt at some point. That's what he does. I don't know, man. I mean, I'll say that he, threw an 80-yard duck against my Chiefs, and that was a good touchdown. But I think the kid's still got a lot to learn. And they're going to roll with Jimmy G until they don't have to. Like, either his contract's up or Jimmy G gets hurt. Like, I think Jimmy G is going to be the guy. Whether that's good or not for this team, I'm not sure. He got him to a Super Bowl, and if he could have hit Emmanuel Sanders wide open, he'd have won a Super Bowl, but he couldn't do that. So we'll see. I think he's going to be good, just not right now.
Ish.
For me, Trey has kind of been middle of the pack when it comes to the first round quarterbacks. I think that he's been up, he's been down. Like Casey said, he's got a lot to learn. There are some throws where he looks really good, some times where he's in the pocket and he moves and he goes through his reads. And then there's other times where he latches on to one receiver or he just holds the ball way too long and creates some of these sacks that you're seeing for himself. So to me, all that I've learned by watching him through the preseason is I want everybody that was giving me a hard time, including you, X, to eat some crow about this nonsense of if you draft a quarterback in the top 5, you got to start them right away. Because I said it from the very beginning before they even drafted him at number 3. I said, you need to ride with Jimmy G until Jimmy G proves that he's not your guy. I said that from the very beginning. Before they got Trey Lance, I said, hey, don't try to rush this kid in. And he has proven in the preseason he's not ready yet. And this is a team that last year they had all those injuries, and we constantly came in and week out, and we said, man, they've got a lot of injuries, but the way this team has come out and played, I can't wait till they're healthy. That looks like a playoff team. They just need to get healthy. And now they're getting all these pieces back, and we want to throw in a guy that still needs to learn at quarterback instead of going with the guy that's taken you there before. Like, let's let the guy that's taken us there before prove to us that he can't do it again before we just jump to conclusions and say, hey, we're going to give it over to Trey Lance. Like, let him have his time. I think that he, unlike Zach Wilson in New York, unlike Justin Fields, unlike Trevor Lawrence, like he has fallen into the right situation of, let's be patient and just let him learn. Like, this is the one situation that everybody in football has been calling for years, where people have been like, oh, why don't we give these guys time to learn? Why do we throw them in so quickly? Like, this is the situation that he has it right here. Let's let him learn. And everybody's still calling for him to get in there immediately. Like, you guys have asked for them to learn, and then you want to throw them in immediately. Like, make up your mind, X. Do you want them to learn, or do you want them to start from day one? I think he needs to sit back. I'm not saying learn from Jimmy G, because you're not learning much from Jimmy G. But just sit back, relax, watch some film, hang out for a little bit.
There is so much more that goes into learning for a quarterback than just learning what he's getting from whoever's starting.
Yeah.
I've said this forever. There's game day cadences. There's where do I go when I'm on the road? There's a bunch that you have that is brand new to you. And if you're also the guy starting a game, there's a lot there. So I think that you're correct with him specifically, and I think this will go away. Unlike with a lot of other quarterbacks, we're just hyped into preseason right now. We see him look okay, and he's getting more reps than Jimmy G is the other thing. Like, he's out there getting his work in. Jimmy G plays a drive, and that's it. So I think we'll get over it eventually with him. Some of these other quarterbacks, maybe not so much. Because ultimately, I still think with Jimmy G, the Niners are going to win. You're going to see some of these other teams, Patriots potentially, or the Bears struggle, and you're going to see the backup get called for. With this team, I expect this team, as long as they stay healthy, the defense to keep this team propped upright and them to make a run at winning this division still.
First thing first, Ish over here sounding like a politician, taking my words and twisting them. Twisting them. We're not going to do that on the show here, sir. What I did
pull the
say,
clip.
Oh, we need to. I will
we need to
sit back and bring it right now. What I did say is, usually, of course, normally when you take whatever position player that it is, top 5 or whatever, mainly quarterback, yes, the usual I guess way would be to start them week 1. Example, Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. But when you have a guy like Trey Lance, who hasn't played football on almost 2 years now, and Trey Lance is somebody that does not need to start because they already have a quarterback that has taken them to a Super Bowl, then I'm obviously not talking about a guy like Trey Lance. So stop trying to twist my words, sir. That's not what I said about the 49ers. I said what I said. If they
draft him at number 3,
yes,
he's got to start.
No, I didn't.
He was drafted at number 3.
No, I didn't. I said normally, if you do draft a guy like that, that means that you have a position to fill. They don't have a position to fill because they had that position. They wanted Trey Lance for that insurance to just in case Garoppolo does get hurt. So I respect it. But no, I never said it. I never said that.
The Patriots.
I never that you see. You listen to fake news. You listen to fake news and social media dweebs out there that just want to make clickbait crap. That's what you're doing. You need to listen to a real show like X Talking Ish. They're gonna bring you the facts, because that's what we do, and that's a fact jack. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to our last topic of the night. But before we do that, I want to let everybody know about our beautiful fantasy football league that we do have on X Talking Ish. And we do have the group in our comment section. So if you want to go ahead and click that link on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, we have our first annual fantasy football league, X Talking Ish. The draft will be in 2 weeks, 14 days. So please make sure you go ahead and join that. KC is a member of that as well, and we will have our draft in about 2 weeks. Miss it. Yes, sir. So let's go ahead
and weekly recaps there will be weekly recaps on the show. We will talk
it's
about
so fun.
We'll talk about trades in the league, things like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up tonight with the QB competitions across the league. Who starts week 1? Let's go ahead and make this quick, guys. And for the people that are tuning in, we were going to ask y'all as well, who's going to start week 1? Type it in. Let us know who y'all think will start week 1 as well. So let's start off with the team that we just got done talking about, the 49ers. Jimmy G, Trey Lance. Who starts week 1, Casey?
Jimmy G.
It's Jimmy.
I have Jimmy G as
well.
Not
even close.
I agree. I feel like that's not really a competition right there. Let's go ahead and talk about the Chicago Bears. Andy Dalton, week 1, or Justin Fields? Who you got, KC.
It's going to be Dalton. I don't agree with it, but it's going to be Dalton.
Ishmael, who you got?
Andy Dalton, unfortunately.
You look so happy about that pick.
Red Dalton.
I don't know why they signed that man and told him he was going to start from the very beginning. Why?
Because that's what happens when the Red Rocket comes into the building, baby.
I don't know what they saw.
He starts calling the shots.
They must have been watching something totally different last year when he was playing in Dallas.
They wasn't watching last year.
He was watching.
They was looking at his Cincinnati days.
Whatever gets the job done, right? That's what it takes. All right, let's go ahead and move it to New Orleans. Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston. Who starts? Ish.
Jameis.
KC.
Oh, it's Jameis.
All right. And let's go ahead and wrap it up with, is there a battle going on in Houston? Do we know who's quarterback going to be in Houston? No?
As long as he doesn't get stabbed in the heart again.
No one.
See your face.
No one. We don't care. Don't even put a team out there.
I mean,
why
said
are we letting them
wanted
play?
to talk about the team that we live in.
I don't want to talk about the organization in Houston. I don't think they should be playing games at all this year. They should forfeit every game.
They might.
Who cares?
017, first one.
All righty then.
First one,
Well,
017.
I don't think that's actually going to happen. I actually have a bet going on with my uncle that the Houston Texans are not going to go 0-17, so that's not.
Nah, they'll knock off the Jags.
They're going to win.
I think they'll win the first
week
game
one,
against the
week
Jags.
one against the Jags.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I got.
I think so.
All right, before we get out of here for tonight, KC, I need.
Hold on.
Okay.
Denver Broncos. Who's starting?
Oh, that's a good one. My bad. Before we get up out of here, that's a great one. My bad. I apologize.
I think it's Drew Lock, but anybody want to make a case for Teddy?
I'm going Teddy Bridgewater.
All right. See, that's why I asked.
Because one thing about Denver,
Trying to get
they are not afraid to hurt quarterbacks' feelings in Denver.
It's true.
So I'm going Teddy Bridgewater.
This is a real difficult one for me. I kind of want to go with Steady Teddy, but at the same time,
Go ahead, put it on, backpack boy.
I gotta put my bag on and go with Mr. Locke because I think at the end of the day, he offers more to you than Steady Teddy. Steady Teddy is only gonna give you 3 to 4 yards per pass. You gotta go with Mr. Locke.
This is very true, Mr. Cody. Pat did draft in Minnesota. Teddy Two Gloves. All right, like I said, before we get out here for tonight, since we asked everybody that came on the last couple of weeks to let us know what their team's record would be this upcoming season, you are next, KC. Who do you have, or what do you have record-wise for your Kansas City Chiefs this upcoming season?
What, 13-4? Is that how that works out? It always throws me the way we're going now.
Yep, 17 games. Yes, sir.
13-4?
Yep. That's what you got?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
can rock with that.
All right.
One game above the Chargers. Heard it here.
Right. You heard it here first on the X Talking Ish. 13-4 for your Kansas City Chiefs. And like I said before, we're not going to leave this show tonight without letting you guys know that, hey,
Get it.
we finally got it done. It took a little bit, but hey, the X Talking Ish merchandise is finally here. And as Lee asked before, yes, you can go ahead and slang that thing, baby, because shirts will be out very soon.
Got hoodies
as well, caps, all that good stuff. So once everything is finalized, we will have the links to be able to click on to be able to purchase at the store online. And you'd be more than welcome to grab merchandise from X Talking Ish. We appreciate the support as always. We appreciate KC for joining us as always, taking his time out, his lovely day from making beautiful craft beer over there.
We're trying.
Hang out with us. Alrighty then. All right, as always, please make sure you tune in next Tuesday, 9 o'clock, for another great episode of X Talking Ish. See you guys next time.